Hello everyone. So I am coming on live today to show you some techniques with our blending brushes. This is one of the blending brushes that obviously I've used for the rich raspberry color. But I want to show you how I use the blending brushes on a few of these cards with my Gorgeous Leaves September free card kit. So as you know, it's still Sale-a-Bration time with Stampin' Up. It's kind of hard to get used to. Like I'm always used to our January, February Sale-a-Bration, but now we got this bonus August and September. So when you place an order this month, you're gonna get the chance to qualify for some free product. So a $50 or for every 50 you order, you get to choose free product. And if you have a $75 order, not only do you get the free product, but you also get the supplies for my free card kit in the mail. So this month there are 5 cards and they are all created with this stamp set, Gorgeous Leaves, which I absolutely love. I just love the artistic style of it and how it's got some splatter and texture designs right in there with the leaves. So what I want to do today, I've already kind of walked you through all 5 cards in another video, but what I want to do today is focus on these 3 cards. So I'm going to do a whole separate video with these 2 and show you how I made those. But today I want to focus on these 3. And there's just a little something with each of them that I want to share with you. So first of all, on this card, it's got that gorgeous designer paper that's got the gold foil. I added some die cut gold foil pieces. The background on the circle is this wood grain image with cinnamon cider ink. So I stamped that on the ink pad, tapped off a couple of times on my scrap paper before putting it on the circle, just so it was lighter and there would be more dynamic difference between that and the rich raspberry greeting. But what I want to show you, what might not be obvious, is this piece here. Do you notice that it looks textured? It's not like a flat piece of rich raspberry like this. Actually, this is Blackberry Bliss, I think, but I grabbed rich raspberry to show you. Same difference. So this you can obviously see there's a difference in texture there. And I want to show you how I got that piece to look like that. So take any piece of cardstock and you just kind of want to, you can go like this with your finger or you can use a bone folder. You just kind of want to break some of those bonds in the paper. Just some of those fibers. So I'm just kind of going back and forth in different directions. You could even crinkle it a little bit if you wanted to. But then what you'll do is take the corner and you'll just start peeling it apart. So you just want to go slowly and kind of guide it with your thumb and your finger. And just keep going slowly, slowly, slowly. And I think now you get the idea. That's all you have to do to get that texture. So just take your piece, break those fibers, like I said, just fold it this way, that way, and then just kind of find that corner and get in there and start pulling it apart. You just want to go slowly. There's no rush. You just have to be kind of patient. And as you pull it apart, you're going to get that texture. And I just think that that adds so much to the card when it's got just that little bit of texture. And then your adhesive just goes on the back here, so that's really easy to still do. I'm going to do that kind of fast just for demonstration. But then it's really easy to just lay right on there and get that difference in texture. So that's my first little tip, bonus tip with this card. But now I want to focus on how I used the blending brushes on these 2 cards. So where to start? Let's do this one first. So I'll pull it closer so you can see. Obviously the greeting is on a vanilla circle. I've got the gold scallop foil behind there. You see the light reflecting. There's this little bit of splatter in the background. So that is from this image in the Gorgeous Leaves stamp set. But then there's these leaves, and that's what I want to focus on. So I went ahead and die cut those leaves just with my very vanilla cardstock. I did use thick cardstock just so they were a little sturdier and easier to work with, but either one would be fine. And then I'm going to open up the 3 different colors of ink that I used on all of these cards. So we've got Old Olive, Cinnamon Cider, and then Rich Razzleberry. So I'll just kind of have these ready to go. And then what I did, so our blending brushes come in a pack of 3. And so I just kind of designated, because I use them a lot on these cards, I designated 1 brush for each color ink. Now, when I am done using this for Rich Razzleberry, it's actually kind of fun to take it and under the sink, just rinse that ink off. It's just kind of fun to watch. I know it's silly, but that ink, it might be discolored, like the fibers might be discolored, but you can, like, let me show you on this one. Like this one I rinsed, so you can see it's got a little bit of discoloration here, but the ink isn't gonna come off anymore once you rinse it out. And they're just like, it's silly, but they're just so like densely packed in here. It's just so soft to rub. Okay, back on track. So I'm going to take this leaf and my blending brush that has Rich Razzleberry. And what I want to do is just tap it on here gently. And then just to kind of get a feel for it, I'll just kind of play with it on here. Do you see how when I tap it and then I touch the first time, it gives more of a defined impression right there as opposed to just that soft blending. So what I often do is take it and kind of touch it on my scrap paper first and then bring it to the object, the layer that I'm sponging. So I could just go over it like this. I can tap more and add more to certain parts so that it's not all uniform looking, but that I get different shades of the Rich Razzleberry. Add a little more at the bottom here. Okay, so you can see, it might be even easier to see as I leave it on the white, but just a dynamic looking shading of the colors. And if you compare it to the ones on the actual card, each one is going to be different because you can sponge it however you want to. You can see I get a little heavier here with the ink and it went lighter. Same thing here, even lighter down here. But that's just a really quick and easy way to sponge that ink on. And then the bigger one I did with Cinnamon Cider. So again, just kind of tap it all over. And then I can go back and make it darker where I want to. I suppose you could also do some fun, if you notice, let me try to hold it in one spot here, but where I am sponging underneath on my scrap paper, it gives you a pretty cool impression too. Like if you used this as a mask rather than your focal piece, you get some fun things there too. Okay, and again, it's just gonna be different every time depending on how you want it to look. So you can always add more ink, right? So if you want a lighter look, have a lighter hand. But if you want it to be really dark, I mean, you can just keep going over and over and over to give it that darker shade. And that's how leaves are in nature too, right? It's not that uniform color in a leaf. So it's really fun to sponge the ink on and make them look even more natural. And then of course, I've got the Old Olive with this other little leaf and just the same idea. Just tap it on there and then go back and add more wherever you want it. Okay, so you get the idea with that. So that is a really basic way to use your blending brushes, and that's what I did on this card here. Another thing you can do with blending brushes is what I did with the Rich Razzleberry leaves on this card. So let me go ahead and close the ink pads that I don't need to use right now, and we'll leave out just the Rich Razzleberry. And scoot the blending brushes up that I don't need. Scoot these. Okay, so I'm going to pull in a piece of Very Vanilla. I've got my Rich Razzleberry ink, and I've got this leaf image on my acrylic block. So what I'm going to do is just kind of show you really easily. I tap this on here and I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, gosh, even 5 if I wanted to. So one color ink Just depending on how many times you stamp it, you can get several different shades. So if you notice when I pull the card back in, this is full strength, right? So you can see that, full strength ink. But then you might notice on these two, it looks a little bit different, right? So it doesn't look really like this one or this one. There's variation within that one leaf. So I want to show you how I did that. So if I tap this and stamp it, I'm going to go 1, 2 times, and then I'm going to come back with my blending brush, pick up some ink, and I'm going to, hopefully this will focus well so you can see. I'm going to tap ink around the edges. Can you see? I think you can. How it's a little bit lighter in the center, and you can see that there's a little bit darker around the edges. Then when I go to stamp that, there is some variation. You can't see it as much as I would like. I'm going to try it one more time. Let me go. I'm going to do it on my scrap paper because I'm kind of running out of room. Stamped off twice, and let me add more ink around the edges. So there's variables here, right? Because it depends how much ink I add, and it also depends how many times I stamp off. There you see it better. So it's lighter on the inside, and then it's got darker spots around the outside. And of course, the more you do that, the darker, more dynamic it will be. So as I apply ink, I can go heavier and really have more of a dynamic difference. Try it one more time. Ooh, that one might be my favorite. So you could kind of play with that. You could even stamp, I stamped off 2 times. Let's flip it over and try 3 and see what that does. So if I stamp off 1, 2, 3 times, and then come back in and add some ink around the edges, it should be even more dynamic because I took more ink off to start. Let's see what that one does. Oh, definitely. So you can play with that. So whether you're using stamps that you've got, they don't have to be leaves, of course. Whether you get my card kit in the mail this month, that's how you can get that variation of color on your stamped image with a blending brush. So stamp your image, stamp off 2 or 3 times, and then come back with your blending brush and just put ink wherever you want it to be to show variation within the card. Okay? The last little thing I did on this card with the blending brush, I stamped that splatter image down here with the greeting. I stamped off, by the way, so that's lighter. You can tell the difference between the greeting and that splatter. So that's stamped off on scrap paper and then added. And then I'm not sure if you can see, with the cinnamon cider, I put just a little bit of ink here and up in that corner. You see, I think you can see that difference. So it's not such a stark vanilla color, but it's got that little bit of razzleberry with the splatter and then the sponge cinnamon cider in these spots here. So that is what I have for you today. I just wanted to show you how I use the blending brush. Simpler, you know, just add ink to your leaf or whatever die cut image you've got. And then to stamp off and add ink with the blending brush to get more of a variation. So these cards were just so much fun to make. I love this stamp set. The colors this time of year are just, I just love the rich, deep, earthy colors. And the little trick with tearing paper on this one. These are 2 of the 5 cards this month. The other 2 are these right here. And you can stay tuned because I'm going to do another video to show you exactly how I made these. So that is what I have for you today. I will put a link in the comments here to the event that describes everything you need to complete these cards as shown and the link where you can order. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.